with my daughter, she's like, I want to go to public school. And you know, public school here is okay. And she has a lot of friends and she wanted to play on the basketball team. So she was like, hey, okay, cool. But, you know, I was a little worried where, you know, how she's growing up, she's not being prepared for the world. The world is ruthless. I mean, come on. Comes at you a million miles an hour. You got to prepare for this stuff. You can't trust everybody. You got to be smart. You know, you're coming out of some of these schools and you just think, wow, everything's so nice. I'm going to go to New York City and try. Well, not now. New York City's closed, probably done forever. But I want to get a real good job. No, it's cutthroat. It's cutthroat. Yeah, so yeah, I rolled her in public school and she loved it this year. It was great until about 3 weeks ago. That's when she did a TikTok video. If you're not familiar with TikTok, it is addicting. You'll watch videos all day, but you do like 20-second videos. A lot of them, you do these dances, like every song, you know, a lot of songs have a dance and everybody wants to do the dance. And so she did a TikTok video and it was a hip hop song sung by a girl who's black, who uses the N-word about 50 times. But this is a clean version of the song. They have clean versions that you could use. So she taped it, did a 20-second dance, and you know, she's just lip singing and everything. And at the end, like right before, she would say that N-word, right? Which again, if you're white and you say the N-word, you lose your life. If you're black, you have to say it. They encourage you to say it, right? Almost, because it's on every single song, every hip hop song, right? Which is just mind boggling to me. It's something that, a word that you want to disappear, that's terrible, that's racist, but yet the people who's racist against like to say it the most, which is crazy, right? So at the end of the video, the girl's like, says N, and you know, my daughter just follows. She didn't even say that. She didn't even say the letter N or anything. So you have a bunch of little kids in school, and then you have this group that's really likes to beat the crap out of all the girls and crazy, and everybody tries to kiss up to them, right? Just like a typical high school. But some girls just went over and said, oh, did you see, you know, my daughter, she said the N-word. She said the N-word. She's a racist. Look at the video and this. My daughter was like, no, I didn't say it. So my daughter kind of took it down and said, you know, if I offend anybody, I'm sorry. And I listened to it, right? Everybody listened to it. Nothing, right? So she did another video, and that made it worse for her, because like, if you didn't say anything, why'd you take it down, this and that? So anyway, she went to gym, which is outside this huge field, not a lot of teachers out there, and like 15 girls came up to her and said, oh, you said the N-word, right? And they're like, you wait, and they're talking about jumping her, and they want to fight her, and she's, you know, I taught my daughter how to fight, but we're talking about girls that are like, 2 of them are like my size, you know, that would murder her. And you're talking about 5 or 6 of them, and they do that. They beat the crap out of some of these kids, and, you know, they get suspended for like a week, and then they're back, right? So you have this group of people trying to get in good with all the tough people, and when you have all these kids, right, and they're throwing around that word racism, it's kind of crazy. It's a big word, right? I mean, they all started, now all of a sudden it started spreading like wildfire across the school, across the grade, and everybody thinks she's a racist now. I mean, she's in 7th grade, and there's no common sense there. I told her, I said, doesn't matter if you said it or not. I know you didn't, but according to everybody, you said it. That's it. Perception's reality. You know, forget my daughter's best friends. One of her best friends is black. Forget she plays basketball for her school. She's one of the best on the team, which has black girls, which she gets along with. She does TikTok videos with black and Hispanic friends all the time. Forget all that. None of that matters now. None of that matters because she's been labeled, and our whole school is turned on her. So when she was outside a gym and you have 15 girls coming up to you, it's pretty scary, you know? And she was like, you know, I didn't say it. I'm sorry, whatever I have to do. And I went to the principal's office and I said, okay, because, you know, if I see 5 girls on top of them, I'm done. I'm going to jail because I'm going to take one of the girls and probably throw her across the street. You know, for me, it was never like third man in always gets the shit kicked out of him. You get knocked out. If you have a one-on-one fight, fine. If you see a third person coming in, most of the time, and I've seen it growing up, that person gets knocked out. You're not third man in. It's not 2-on-1. It's not 3-on-1. It's not 4-on-1. If you fight those, then it's different. If it's 1-on-1, it's different. Fight your own battles. That's the way I believe. But think about seeing your kid getting the shit kicked out of her by 6, 7 people. How are you going to react? And they all take their cameras out and look at it. So for me, the smart thing went to the principal. The principal was really cool. He's like, none of this is going to happen. He looks at the video. He said, nothing's there. But it doesn't matter. It's still going on and on. And now it's 3 weeks later, and still, a lot of girls, like, when she goes through the hall, they're like, oh, look at the racist. Oh, she's a bitch. They call her a bitch. What are you looking at, bitch? And again, I taught her how to fight, how to defend herself, but you can't defend against 5 people all jumping you. You know, most of these girls are really crazy. You know the crazy kids in school. It's been going on for a while, and what we found out is my daughter has those 2 other girls, and They went after another one, same thing, calling her racist. And then another one because she had a video and people post all over social media as kids, even as adults, where she was trick-or-treating and she had a Trump hat on. So when she got to school, all of the black and Hispanic kids went after her and said, you're a racist. You support Trump. You're a racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. And think about that for a minute. Because these girls are now isolated from everyone else, right? When they see them in the hallway, people calling them names. They live in fear every day when they go to school, which is a horrible thing. I mean, no kid should have to go through. But my question is, why is this young community, why are they so angry? Why do they believe that, racism is a huge issue, which it's not. I mean, my daughter's a really good kid. She's nice. I taught her the right way. But, the anger that's there. Because when I was in school, if someone started, and the schools I went to, majority white, but if someone started with a black person, whether you knew him or not, because they didn't like the color of his skin, the white kids would beat the shit out of the person that started with him. That's how I grew up. And maybe I'm just like in Queens, New York. It's the only place like that, but I have tons of friends out there. It's just, I never looked at that. I mean, maybe it's because I played sports and I don't think it exists in sports. It's a team concept. But now, I mean, it's pretty crazy. But why are they so angry? Did you ever, why? Why is that happening? And I think you guys know the answer to that because anger is everywhere. Division is everywhere. Both sides have no intentions on making things better and getting along. No way. Nobody, that doesn't work for anybody other than us, the people. And you have friends who are Democrat, Republican that that are cool, but when it gets into politics, it's like this, I hate your guts, you're an idiot for thinking this way, when our country was basically founded on that, to debate each other to find the best solution. Now, you're not even allowed to listen to the other side. If you think differently, forget it, you're gone. No way. But filtering this down, it's going down to our kids, because in politics, it's easy for adults to separate the real shit from the BS. At least most of us can. But our actions, our words, what we hear in the media, how Trump is a domestic terrorist, when Biden said Trump supporters are Nazis, when Jamil Hill said that all Trump supporters are racists, when you hear people saying Biden is a cheater, or Biden is going to die soon, this way Kamala Harris is going to take over, and all. I mean, this filters down on both sides. Our kids are listening to this. They're listening to this, and they're getting pissed off. I mean, you're going to hear about this a little bit later when I bring on my nephew who's trading, and it's the reason why I'm bringing him on. It's going to be fantastic. We're not going to talk politics, but it's amazing to see how much he is into politics and how many kids are, like, think about when you were 18, 19, 20. I mean, you didn't know anything really about politics. You didn't follow. It wasn't a big, now it's like these kids are engulfed in the anger and the social media. I mean, there's so much anger out there, right? But kids, they don't know the difference. And they only know what they're being taught by the teachers and the media, what they watch. I mean, imagine your kid watching MSNBC for 30 minutes. Seriously, watching MSNBC. She would hate America. She would hate capitalism. Seriously, you put that show on. It's like they hate everything and everybody. It's all anger. It's all mad. It's all blaming everybody else. It's not like, hey, everybody come together and this is a great thing. None of that. I mean, she would be angry all the time about issues, and issues that we all know as adults are never going to freaking change, right? They never changed for 40 years. Healthcare more affordable? Really? Is it? Equality for everyone? Really? Narrow the wealth gap? It's more widened today than it's ever been in history. We're going to clean up your neighborhood. Oh, yeah? Really? There's places in Baltimore that are cleaned up. Look at the major cities in Atlanta. You look at, really? They're really cleaned up? Because a lot of these places are real danger zones now. Now they're getting worse, right? If you're taking police away and cutting those budgets, it's pretty scary. Again, you're going to lower the deficit. I mean, we have 40 years, you go back, right? All these promises, nothing ever changes. But yet you're going to shout to the rooftops because, someone's telling you about something. And you support the agenda. Next thing you know, it's crazy. It consumes your whole entire life as a young kid, and for something we're not even going to see change. We're not going to see change. You really think we're going to see change no matter who's elected? No. I mean, tiny things, but come on, it's the same thing over and over and over again. But how do you think this is going to end when it comes to our kids? I mean, I'm a common sense guy. I always speak the truth, even though it pisses some people off, even my subscribers. But, I tell it how it is, and that's me. If you don't like me, don't listen to this podcast. Don't subscribe to my newsletters. That's okay. That's fine. I get it. I mean, it's you can't have everybody liking you. If they do, that probably means you're fake, because you could be shy, and some people hate shy people. You could be, outspoken. But you're not gonna be able to please everybody. You want to do that with your business, where I'm trying to make as much money as I can for everybody and do great things for them. But when it comes to personalities, there's people you're gonna like, people you don't like. That's fine. But just be true to yourself. But being a common sense guy, how does this end? I mean, I see a massive revolution taking place where our kids growing up are going to be more divided than ever. Because when it comes to my daughter, I taught her to respect all people, everyone. But after her experience, as we have, black girls, Hispanic girls, accusing her of being a racist, something she didn't do, right? Calling her a racist, calling her a bitch, saying they were going to jump her outside to the point where, I had to go pick her up. Think about that. Like, how is that going to influence her growing up? I mean, how does she think about black people? I hope she doesn't think everybody's like this, that they're going to lie and call her racist or whatever. I hope so. But I hope she doesn't grow up like that for the rest of her life. I'll teach her not to. But when we look as kids, our character, right now as adults, is based on our experiences growing up and who taught us. Right? If you're black and you're walking down the street and you get jumped by 10 white guys and they're calling you the N-word and beat the shit out of you when you're like 12, 13, you're going to think differently about white people going, you should, right? That's just, we live through our experiences, and that builds our character. And something like this, and if she said the N-word, I'd say, well, you got to deal with it, honey. Sorry. You messed up. You apologize. And if someone wants to fight you, then, you deserve to get the shit kicked out of you. And if you said something like that, that's what I really would tell my daughter. You deal with it. This way you know better. But the fact that she didn't do anything, and now she's a really, really good kid, a nice kid that helps people. She's a good heart. And now to see like a whole school like turning on her, it's pretty crazy. It's nuts. But it's growing up as it's almost like a religion, right? Grow up as Catholic. You're going to believe in Jesus, God, the Bible. It's never going to change till you die, right? Because that's what you were taught as a kid. But I feel like this gets lost on both sides of the aisle, calling each other racists and cheaters, because we have to look at this. It's filtering down to our kids. It's influencing them. It's changing them in a very bad way. But anyway, when it comes to my daughter, I told her never to run away from your problems. You need to face your fears. It's really difficult head on, but this is different. This isn't your typical case of bullying, which goes on in every school. It went on when I was a kid. It goes on, right? And you deal with it, and hopefully it's not bad where, but you deal with it. And again, that builds your character. You stick up to ability, and believe me, it'll be the best thing that you do. But my daughter's being labeled as a racist. That's a really big word in today's world. And it's worse than being a bully. You're being labeled as someone that hates a certain type of people. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And my daughter, she loves hip hop. She has, black friends. She nothing. When you're nothing. And that's the way, we taught her. And it's just, really sad. But this whole racist thing, it's not just a temporary thing or a phase. That's something that's going to go away unless we really change it. It's a trend, and it's in its very early stages, and it has tons and tons of momentum. It continues to grow. And it's going to grow as long as we continue to bash each other.